What's up, Nerdy Sports fan? This is your Nerdy Sports host, Tim, bringing you a jam-packed NBA playoff podcast. I got my Miami Heat playing potentially their last game of the season today, and I thought I'd bring in my good friend Scotty to talk some hoops. What's up, Scotty? How are you?
Doing pretty good. It's unusually hot here. It, pardon me if there's any sweat in my brow here, but might not be as hot as it is for your Heat. That game hurt, I gotta say. Makes you feel better. I had $25 on Miami, so I was feeling a
Yeah,
little bit of pain.
listening to every sports podcast host predict the Miami Heat to win definitely doesn't help. I mean, they've historically dominated that Atlanta Hawks matchup over the
Yeah,
years, and you would think like the whole season, like, oh, once the playoffs come, they'll be good. But I'll be honest, I'm a little afraid of Zach LaVine tonight. I think Zach LaVine's got a good shot of winning. And the
yeah,
Bulls, of
yeah,
course. Mar DeRozan, Alex Caruso, one of the defensive players of the year potentially. They're a solid bunch. Pat Bev, I
yeah.
like Chicago in that matchup, even though they're a 5.5 point dog. I don't really know why Miami's favored so much. They literally are the worst team in the NBA at covering spreads. I don't know if you got the Bulls tonight, but I would predict people should take the Bulls.
Uh, I normally bet a lot, but I think I'm just gonna leave this one as a no bet. Or actually,
That,
I'm gonna do
that's
some
smart.
prop bets. I got that bet like Jimmy Butler to score over 16, and then you combine that with like Zach LaVine over 17, and you get like 1-to-1 odds if you do both of them together. I
That's
think it better
solid.
go with just players instead of the team.
Yeah. Nah, they should at least get 30, but who knows? All right, so let's start talking about some teams that actually can win the championship. For me, it's
Mhm.
easy. It's the Milwaukee Bucks. They got Giannis Antetokounmpo, who could be the defensive player of the year, who could be the most
Mhm.
valuable player of the year, the
Yeah.
number one seed in the East. You got the Suns, who literally haven't even played enough games together to have any chemistry. You have the Warriors, who've been equally dysfunctional as the Miami Heat. You got the Nuggets, who I haven't trusted. I think the Celtics, maybe, but I don't know. I don't see it. Do you think the Milwaukee Bucks win the championship?
I hate to be boring, but I 100% agree. I do think
Yeah.
they are going to win. I think they should be heavy favorites. I know they are the favorite, not heavy. And
Nah.
yeah, everybody else has massive issues. Biggest issue with Milwaukee is maybe Chris Middleton has been a little rough this year for his injury,
Sure.
but I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, they have. I'm grasping at straws. They really don't have the issues that everybody else has. You feel like almost everybody else has big issues, especially the West, which is great for TV to watch that wide open. But the East, it's a three-team race, and I feel like Philly's not quite in the same level. It's more like two
Exactly.
teams, then Philly, and then everybody else is
Yeah.
not very serious. I mean, I think it was Charles Barkley yesterday, the day before, basically said you don't have to watch the games, and you kind of laugh at that, but it's almost a little bit of truth to that. You appreciate the honesty. That on the East side, it's just like the first round, particularly, was not really anything to care about.
Absolutely. You got the Milwaukee Bucks at plus 240 to win the championship, the Boston Celtics at plus 350 to win the championship, and then 76ers all the way down at plus 1,000 to win the championship. I personally don't believe in Joel Embiid and James Harden being able to combine in the playoffs and be healthy. And health matters. We see it all the
Mm-hmm.
time. I mean, how did Kawhi and Toronto Raptors win the championship? An Achilles injury.
Yeah,
How is Kevin Durant going to even stay healthy enough? Are they better with Kevin Durant? That's a whole side fact. But let's stick with the Milwaukee Bucks right now. Drew Holiday's having one of the best years of his career. Um, Chris Middleton, as you mentioned, yeah, maybe he's not the Batman, but Drew Holiday like jumping in and being a
yeah,
number two, and between Giannis, Drew Holiday, and Brooke Lopez, those are three of the best, maybe 10 defenders in the whole league. And Giannis is the most unstoppable force in basketball. That man, nobody could stop him. He's human highlight reel. He could dunk on anybody. Extremely powerful. It's unbelievable what that man has done to his body since being drafted 15th overall years ago. I'm really impressed by Joel Embiid's consistency and his
hmm
ability to hit 50 points every game. It seems it's wild, but I personally would give the MVP to Giannis. But honestly, I'm kind of sick of that conversation. Whether it's Giannis, Joel Embiid, or Jokic, like I don't know why Giannis isn't getting credit. That's the only thing I really feel needs to be said. Why is it a two-man race? I don't know why Giannis can't be the guy. He's clearly the best defender of all three of those, and I don't think Joel Embiid and Jokic are that much better on the offensive end to make them, so substantially better in that MVP race than Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's clearly the best player in the world and clearly on the best team. Without Giannis, like this team's mid. Do you have anything to add to that MVP race conversation?
Well, honestly, I would go with Embiid this year. But
Okay.
it's part of it's like you could argue it's a flawed system. It's just the way the NBA works. As far as Giannis, I feel like even though he didn't win last year, it's like he got two, and now until he does something, he doesn't have to be better. He has to be like much better to get that third MVP. You could look in the past from the Jordans and LeBrons, and even go back, to Kareem. And it's like people once you get about two MVPs, you got to just blow the competition away, not beat them, but blow them away to get a third one. Generally, it's
Yeah.
kind of an NBA rule. It just is what it is. So I'm not surprised it's not being spoken about as much. Uh, Personally, I'm rooting for Philly. I don't think they're going to win. Like I said, I had them a distant third, but just for heart, I'm rooting for him. I love Embiid, so I'm actually rooting for him also for MVP. But
Mm-hmm.
that I'm sure we're going to jump into their situation. The James Harden thing just really takes away from me any reason that they could win. But
For sure. I think
I'm
it's
not. I wouldn't
insane.
be unhappy with Embiid getting MVP. I think he's at least close enough. I don't think it's a blatant like a mistake they give to somebody
No, I,
else.
I, I agree with that. I don't think it would be a big surprise if Joel Embiid gets the MVP. It's more of a narrative discussion. All I'm saying
Mhm.
is Giannis isn't like that far off from those top two. He should be in the conversation. And I personally would give it to him, but I'm far from a voter. I'm just a guy that loves basketball. But yeah, it's
Uh,
bombing hot. I was playing basketball today. It was like 95
mhm.
degrees on the court. My my heart rate literally went up to 180, and I'm like, I gotta calm down. Like it's playing one on one with 17-year-olds
Yeah,
in high school.
it's
Like
too
I'm
hot
not
out there
out
today.
there.
Don't know if I
Yeah, I
lost you.
need to come home and
Screen
pass
is
out. But
frozen on
so
my
like
end.
Joel Embiid, like his fitness was always something I was
Um,
concerned about. His footwork is
but
absolutely
I went
incredible
for
for a guy that's
a
big.
run for like 20 minutes,
But
and I
it
was
comes
like,
from
okay,
that
I'm
that
done.
that
It's too
soccer
hot.
skill he has. A
Sorry,
little
I
football helps with
lost you
your
for a minute there, but
Hakeem Olajuwon esque skill. I'm talking about Joel Embiid and his footwork. But yeah, so I agree. I mean, there's a reason why they're 10-1, or yeah, minus 1,000 is 10-1, right? So 10-1
yeah.
odds to win the championship. I don't see them in that. Like, I actually think the Warriors. I mean, are they? Yeah, the Warriors are plus 850. Even though like the Warriors haven't like won
Mhm.
a road game all year, uh, I
No,
still
I'm
I still think they got a much better shot than the Philadelphia 76ers because Steph Curry is absolutely in his prime right now, and if Clay can stay hot, they got a shot there. So
I'm
not to
gonna I'm gonna disagree
yeah
on that
no,
one. I say I
zero
don't
chance.
like the Warriors.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
I
it's
think
slim.
the
Yeah.
day end was what was it? 3 wins against road teams above 500, something like that. It was two or three. So
Mm-hmm.
road teams above 500, they were like 3-18, 3-30, something like that. It was something insane. Well, it's like they
Mm-hmm.
can't win on the road. It would be unprecedented. We had the third or fourth worst road record in the entire NBA, and like previously, there had never been a championship that had a road record that was like the previous worst. I think is 20-21, like one game under 500 or something. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with the numbers on this one, even though people like to talk about pedigree and whatnot. I don't think they can win. And actually, I'm picking upset, which is weird because they're a 6 seed. I'm picking
The
them to lose in the
Kings.
first round. I'm picking the Kings in the first round, which is
Well,
somehow an
they're
upset because this year the top three teams are almost considered underdogs. Like everybody's like in the Lakers, the
absolutely
Warriors, and the Suns, and
got
those
to
are all
switch to the
bottom
left.
four seeds. So a little upside down this year. But yeah, I don't think the Warriors can pull it together.
I
It,
mean,
it
the Kings
reminds
are only
me.
plus 250 to win that series.
Yeah,
Not
it's close
crazy.
to it's close even. But if you consider
Yeah,
a 3 seed to a 6 seed, that's a big
sure.
gap to be that. And I'm seeing a little to go cross sports here. I feel like the Warriors remind me a little bit of Tampa in the NFL. Everybody's like, oh, they're going to pull it together. They got Tom Brady. They're going to pull it together. They're going to pull it
I
together. And
like
then they go to
that.
playoffs and they get destroyed. And you're like, oh no, they are who we thought they were. That's another NFL reference where it's like, I think
Absolutely.
everybody's saying, oh, they got Steph Curry and he is amazing. And he's,
Sure.
especially at this age, I can't believe how well he's playing. He's stretching out his years. I don't know if he'll be able to play like the way LeBron's playing down the road, but you think of his age, most people at that age, he's falling down, he's peaking. I think they are who they are. They're a bad road team, and I don't think they're going to get out of the first round, in my opinion. I honestly don't. Second round, it would be tops for me.
Yeah, I hear you, man. We think like this is potentially one of the best playoff matchups.
Mm-hmm.
Like who's going to win? But at the end of the day, we're looking at three teams. We're looking at the Phoenix Suns, the Boston Celtics, and the Milwaukee Bucks. But
Yeah.
going back to your Tom Brady versus Steph Curry, Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Golden State Warriors like comparison, I love that. I think that's a perfect comparison. Wiggins is finally going to play, but how's
Yeah.
that chemistry going to work? I love Dante DiVincenzo, but like, is he good enough? Like Jordan Poole off the bench could be hot, get 25 a game, but I don't know if they could defend properly. They're actually
Yeah.
a really bad foul team. They foul a ton. And the Kings are really, I know it's not really a sexy conversation, but similar to football, it's all about the offensive line. May not be sexy, but
Yeah.
it's big boys matter. Those Kings, I think, similar to the Lakers, they're really, really good at the free throw line. They're composed, and if Sabonis could get offensive rebounds, that increases your possessions. And that's what it's all about. You need more possessions and obviously hitting your shots. But, the
Yeah.
Warriors are never out of it. They got Steph and Clay and Jordan Poole, three guys that can light up 20, 25, 30 points a game every single game consistently. But that's only 70, 75 points. You're probably going to need 150. No, that's probably too much, but like
Yeah.
130 to beat the
Yeah.
Kings. The Kings were
130,
the best
maybe
offense in
135.
basketball for a reason. And people are thinking that the Kings are going to slow down in the playoffs just because it's, you can't play fast. I'm like, well, why can't they? Like, you really think like Draymond Green's like athletic enough to like get in front? Like, I don't know. I think Sabonis is the type of
Yeah.
guy, he's got the mental IQ. He could figure out Draymond Green. Draymond Green can slow down more guys that are, less intelligent. Simply put, like guys
Yeah.
that rely on their athleticism. And Sabonis is the exact opposite of that. That man just has perfect footwork and knows exactly how to get the best out of Fox and Monk, and such a beautiful
Yeah.
team. I love the Kings.
I don't know how they're going to stop Fox from getting to the hole at the point of attack. And, not just the chemistry you mentioned with Wiggins, but we don't know. And I totally believe in privacy. I understand it's a family issue, all that stuff. But has he
Sure.
even really been shooting the basketball? What if he's just
Mhm.
completely rusty or not in NBA shape? Like there's NBA shape and then there's playoff shape, which is even like a higher level of intensity. And what type of like cardio has he been doing? Is he going to be completely out of shape? Is he going to play like there's NBA shape and then there's playoff shape, which is above that,
Oh
and
my God! Right?
can
Can he even play
can
20 minutes a game?
like no matter what you're doing at home, I'm assuming he was running a treadmill or something around the track. Like it's not the same, and he
Sure.
hasn't played in now a couple months. Is he going to be completely out of shape? Is his jumper going to be off? It's nice to have another shooter always. Nowadays, everybody has to shoot threes in today's NBA. Is he going to be completely rusty? Like it's hard to
No,
say.
Wiggins
Just
isn't even
plug
that
and play.
3 point shooter. He's mid range. He's like baby KD.
Oh,
He's all mid range all day. But yeah, similar actually philosophy to is he ready? I think John Morant still is far away from mentally being prepared. And I know LeBron's got a foot injury, but that's actually, I mean, Vegas doesn't lie about this. That's the closest first round series we got. The Lakers are plus 120 to win that series, and the Grizzlies are minus 140. So it's pretty much a coin flip. They're
hmm
thinking Grizzlies are going to win because of their, uh, honestly, I think they're going to win because of their defense. Going back to that, like they got Triple J, and I think Dylan Brooks can lock down LeBron, especially at this age. Dylan Brooks is a concrete wall. That man is tough, and I don't really like the team chemistry. I don't really know where to go with this. Like the Lakers are hot right now, and the Lakers are also by far the best free throw shooting team in the league, and that's really going to matter in the playoffs. Obviously, they have the mental IQ advantage because of LeBron, and Anthony Davis is sneaky, and he's actually the hottest he's ever been
yeah,
right now. But they're also not really. I don't know. I don't think they're deep enough to really make it happen. I mean, there's a reason why it's a coin flip. I can't predict. Are you leaning either way with Milwaukee? Sorry,
I
Memphis or the Lakers?
I am. I'm leaning toward the Lakers. Um,
Okay,
you mentioned the fouls. I think the fouls are a really big deal.
I hear you.
I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but we know that some teams tend to get a little more benefit of doubt. The Lakers are a historic franchise. They led the league in three. They already led the league in free throw differential by a wide margin, like a huge margin.
Yeah,
And I think Triple J is going to get in massive foul trouble. He
sure.
already is known for being having to get a lot of fouls all the time,
Yep.
and they are missing Steven Adams. I think they don't got the height. I think that as long as Anthony Davis could stay plugged in, I understand that's a huge if, but the last like 2 months particularly, obviously he still had a couple bad games, but generally I was watching Minnesota and that wasn't a great LA game, but he was hustling to forget like the bad foul. I'm not talking the game as a whole, but he looked like he was plugged in. For him, it's, I want to say almost mental. Like when he's trying, I don't think they got the size. And I think the Lakers are going to get Memphis in foul trouble early, often. And I think that's going to definitely be an issue for Memphis because once they run out of size, I think that's going to be a problem for them.
Yeah, they're loose cannons, man. Like Dylan Brooks is all always out of control, and I can't see John Morant like being able to be chill and composed at this point. He's definitely working on himself, but the whole gun in the strip club incident and
Yeah.
berating high school kids on the basketball court, like that's just not a good look. And I get it. There's a lot of pressure on you as someone that's supposed to be a superstar and one of the biggest faces of the league. And I don't know how I would, I mean, I'm 32 now, but
Mhm.
I don't know what I would do 10 years ago if I was given $100 million contract, shoe deals. All these kids want to be like me. I went to a small town school. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of pressure on him, but I obviously, from a casual perspective, we want a Steph Curry versus LeBron second round matchup. So that's what I'm
Sure.
rooting for, at least. And either of them could lose, of course. I mean, they are the two closest first round series, so they could easily lose. But you got to bet on LeBron and Steph at the end of the day. Those guys are veterans. They know how to win, and they know how to rally the troops and get this happening. I'm not betting on the Grizzlies. I'm not betting on John Morant to figure it out. I think LeBron's going to give his all to win that one series.
Mhm.
Maybe they can win two too, like as well, because like we said, the Warriors aren't really ready for that. I agree that the Warriors and the Lakers don't really have a realistic chance of winning the championship, but this is the year that anybody could win in the West. Like the
Yeah.
Suns aren't exactly flowing. They haven't lost
And
with Kevin Durant in the lineup, but obviously on paper, you got Kevin Durant, you got Chris Paul, you got Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Josh Okogie coming out of the fifth spot. Like this team is balling, but you need chemistry, you know? So let's switch to that. So you got the Phoenix Suns minus 500 to win their series versus the Los Angeles Clippers. And that's primarily because Paul George isn't going to play.
yeah.
Now, Kawhi, of course, won a championship. He is championship ready. And actually, Russell Westbrook is looking pretty good in the other uniform in Los Angeles. But I mean, come on. You
Yeah.
can't pick the Clippers, right? How do you feel about this series, Scotty?
Uh, yeah. I mean, I think this is Phoenix pretty easily, 5 games. And I mean, I think you can't talk about this matchup without the first thing you said is Paul George is out. And that is a big thing because let's just be honest. The Clippers winning their last game of the regular season was blasphemy.
Mm-hmm.
The reports are by the doctors, by Paul George, that he would probably be ready for the second round. So they would probably have him in the second round. And the Clippers won their final game of the regular season. They lose that game. They're going to be either the 6 or 7 seed. And you have to take the risk of being the 7 seed, but getting Paul George in the second round. Then saying they wanted to guarantee not be the 7 seed to be the play in. But now you put yourself in a matchup that you probably can't win.
Yeah.
So I think that was a terrible coaching decision by Ty Lue. I'm just got to say it. And I don't think that with Paul George they have any chance against Phoenix. Phoenix's biggest issue besides chemistry, I'm not saying it's not a big deal, is that Kevin Durant and even CP3's age, Kevin Durant injuries. So they're probably going to be their best, I would argue, in the first round because they're at their most healthy. They just had a week off. They're going to be pretty healthy. They should be able to not get injured at least for the first series. And I just don't think this is a good matchup for the Clippers at all. I think it goes maybe 5 games.
Yeah, I can't realistically take the plus 480 for the Suns to win the championship. I don't know what the odds are for them to win the West, but you can't rely on that. But that one series, you got to pick. You got to pick the Phoenix Suns.
The Suns are number 1 in the West, by the way, because you asked the question at plus 425 to win the championship. So
what 425 you got? I just found 480 is.
That's well, I'm looking at DraftKings. I know you're going to get different sites. That's just the one I have to have up here. So it's easy for me to read. But so sure. Vegas likes them to be healthy. So sure. It's the West. It's crazy.
You're good. If you do lose KD, you still got Devin Booker and CP3, and that team's fine. They're actually kind of deep, like Josh Okogie, Campaign, Terrence Ross, Craig Warren, Biyombo, Shamit. Like they got some guys that can make it happen. CP3 is a floor general that may not win the championship. I can't pick that 480. So realistically, like for me, it's Bucks. Celtics got a slim shot, and I'm not gonna lie. Like 2 weeks ago, I thought it was pretty wide open, but now really like digging into the numbers, digging into the teams, I'm like, it would be a big upset if the Bucks lose. I don't see anybody in the West beating them, and I don't think the Celtics are ready for that. We could switch to the. Yeah, let's switch to the East. Let's switch back to the East. So the Bucks are going to play the winner of, the Miami matchup tonight versus Miami and Chicago. That'll be a fun matchup, but let's be honest, like the Bucks are going to destroy either of those teams. They're not ready for it. Miami's probably going to blow it up. Like I was defending them to the death all year, but honestly, I've lost hope at this point. It's not. They're not the team. They're not ready. I do love Tyler Hero. And of course, Bam and Jimmy are great. But maybe Jimmy's too old for this team. He wants to move on because this team's never going to tank. But they definitely need to change directions and change their course of where the franchise is going right now. But Milwaukee's definitely going to dominate that series. One series I am very interested in, that's a battle with a lot of New Yorkers, of course, is the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks. Now, Julius Randle is supposedly healthy and ready to go, but even with a fully healthy Julius Randle, I said this months ago, I think Cleveland Cavaliers are literally built to beat this team. Jalen Brunson, one of the best stories of the whole NBA regular season, but this team is not good enough to beat the Cavs. You guys are sleeping on Evan Mobley. Hopefully Donovan Mitchell can literally ball out in the playoffs so he could get his superstardom ramped up. I think that guy's one of the greatest players in the NBA. He is an absolute leader, and their backcourt is elite. How do you feel about the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks matchup?
For those watching at home, I'm currently living in New Jersey. Used to live in New York. Tim's in New York, so if it's not obvious, baby. There is some home field. I mentioned Philly. I used to travel there a lot, but I got the Cavs in 6. I think the Knicks remind me of that type of team that plays really hard in the regular season, and then you get to the playoffs, and they can't raise it another notch. They've been playing 100%, and a lot of the better teams, even though Cleveland's not in the league of Milwaukee, for example, or Boston, but some of those teams, they just take a night off here and there. They just know they're better. So I think the Knicks are already given 110%, and Cleveland's going to go a little bit harder in the playoffs, and they're like a better version of the Knicks in a way, unless they have positions in some ways that are similar, and then they're just better. And I think they ended. I want to say the number 1 defense this year. They ended as I worry about the Knicks being able to score on them. So
see that.
Yeah, I think
Jerry Starlin's one of my favorite players in the NBA. I love that guy. I don't know what people gave up on him real quick. Give him 2 months. I'm like, he's done. He's trash. I'm like, come on. They didn't even want Kevin Love. I mean, I see why now. I see why they didn't want Kevin Love after seeing he can't even, I jump higher than him at this point in his career. And that's not saying much. No. I'm 6'4", 250. I can't jump much.
Neither. They're back the old school flat-footed shots here. So,
but I think that team, not that the Cavs, like you said, similar to the Warriors and Lakers philosophy, they could win a series or two. But I think the Knicks got no chance. Minus 200 is a steal, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
The
2-1. That's good. Take that bet.
Yeah,
Take
I
that
mean,
cash money.
I feel like the East is pretty chalk. You could
Sure.
just pick the favorite in every round almost, and you'll
So
probably do pretty well.
this is a conversation I was having just like an hour ago with our bet chat, right?
Mhm.
Gamblers Anonymous, call us. But we got the Celtics at minus 1,200 to win the series versus the Hawks, but they're plus 260 to sweep. Is that a bad bet? What do you feel? How do you feel about that? Do you
Uh,
think the Hawks can win one?
I mean, I think obviously they can win one. Like I generally tend to pick favorites in five because you just don't know if there's
Sure.
that one game where either the favorite gets too control. Sometimes they go up 3-0, and then it's common to lose that last game if they're just not paying attention. And then there's obviously the NBA now that we're just like the super 3-point league compared to 10 years ago. You just need one team to be crazy hot, and then anybody can win that way. But I'd say as much. If you took the entire playoffs all combined, I think this is the most likely series to have a sweep. If somebody said I have to pick one sweep, if they told me like they could, what came to the future said one team swept, like who is it? I'm going to bet I'm going to take Boston to the sweep.
There you go.
That's
That
how I
was my
would say
second
it.
question, actually, because the 76ers and the Celtics are both plus 260 to sweep. And I think your Brooklyn Nets got at least one in them. I love this team. That
Mm,
Phoenix Suns trade, I mean, obviously nobody ever wants to get rid of KD and Kyrie, but like
no.
they are so much better now. They are like, all right, that may be crazy for me to say, but I think personally to watch a team like it's just they flow better. They could at least like guard anybody. You know, they're legit. They're a solid team. To lose Kevin Durant, to lose talent like that, and still be relevant, still be good. They really didn't lose that many more games than people were projecting. You know, they're plus six 660 to win that series. That would be a sick sweep or upset pick. But I think they at least got they're fun. That's all I'm saying. They're fun. They're a fun team to watch. How do you feel about your Nets right now and the future of the Nets? Let's talk about
You
that.
know, uh, that's my team. I grew up going to them. Used to have season tickets from the age of about 10 to 18 as a family would go. So I'm very biased. But generally, I'm the type of biased guy that actually looks more half empty. I tend to like
Yeah, you
underplay my
are.
teams because I don't
You
want to get my
are.
hopes up. It's like, oh, too much heartbreak. You can't handle it. I definitely think they'll win at least a game, maybe two, especially because you got the old James Harden bugaboo. Can he play in the playoffs or not?
Mm-hmm.
So that could definitely
Mm-hmm.
come back to haunt him. Uh,
And Harden's not really healthy enough right now. He's not ready.
but I
And
think
the sad thing is, if Ben Simmons was actually like who he could be, this team could actually win the series potentially. It's close.
mhm.
It's close, man. But like Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, Nick
So
Claxton. That's a solid starting lineup. Patty Mills off the bench, Joe Harris off the bench, Seth Curry, Cam Thomas, one of my favorite rookies.
I, I,
Really,
I
what he was
definitely
a rookie last year, right? Oh, I love that kid.
I like the next future. I'll jump to that. I'll say Sixers in six. It's just going to be my pick.
Sure. Okay.
But I'll jump to the future and say I like the Nets. I like what they did on two fronts. Not to contradict myself, but I love that they went for it, going for KD, Kyrie, and whatnot. And I also like that they basically gave up when they felt like it was just not going to work. And even though those kind of contradict themselves, because I like teams that swing for it. I like aggression, try. Like, I hate when your team just sits and keeps doing the same thing over and over. So I definitely, even when it
Yeah.
fails, like the Dallas debacle, and that's a different subject for another day. But I give them credit for trying something.
Now let's
You
talk
know,
about Luka. Let's go,
yeah,
baby.
we can get into that in
Why
a
not?
minute. But I like that they tried, and then I also like that they realized that it's just they gave it years, and now we're going to try something else. Obviously, they didn't have a choice. Obviously, players demanded
Of course.
trades, and now
Yeah.
that but they put themselves in a situation, they did get pieces back, like you mentioned, where it's not like they didn't go from we were a contender for championship to a dumpster fire, and we're going to be bad for 5 6 years. They got obviously have draft picks on top of that, and
Mm-hmm.
there's no reason they shouldn't be in the playoffs next year. And ideally, a better team with the right picks and whatnot can make a move. They have
Sure.
some cap space. So I think the future is relatively bright. Like, not championship next year, but they're set up in a good spot to make a run.
They're
And
young. They got a loaded roster. Obviously, guys like Patty Mills and Seth Curry are going to get rid of, get out of there. But they're set up for greatness. They're at least fun. I definitely want to see them next year. I'll buy
Yeah,
some tickets.
and like, had they get KD in the first part, they got KD and Kyrie. You get yourself like a young good core, and then you just want normally the stars are like they don't want to go to a bad team. They want to go to a team like that. So there's a chance they could pick up a new star in a couple of years whenever free agency comes around. Maybe not this
Yeah.
year, because the stars generally they don't want to go to like terrible teams. They want to go to teams that are right at 500 and they can take them over the top.
Yeah.
So they're actually, I feel like, in good shape to have a nice roster that could add somebody in a future free agent round and maybe get lucky with a draft pick, make some
Yeah.
noise down the line.
Have you watched Mikal Bridges enough to know if he's like a number one or a number two on the championship team? Let's
I
say they had
mean,
like a Jimmy Butler. Let's say they had a guy like, is Mikal there?
I think he could be a number two. I don't think he could be a number one.
Sure.
I mean, I think the bar for number one is pretty high. Like when it comes to like, if you're talking championship, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think there's more than half a dozen number ones in the league, like true number ones that you could put on a team and then become a championship team.
Yeah, there's like
Honestly,
six, right?
so
It's
at
definitely
that,
not deep.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I would
definitely
say
not deep.
not a number one like carry a team, but
Yeah. Like
sometimes.
Donovan Mitchell isn't there. Donovan Mitchell's probably not a
Mhm.
number one right now, but he could be. He's got potential. But here he is,
And
not deep, not a long list for a number one.
obviously, it's hard to find a star, but sometimes it could be equally hard to find a good number two. You look at teams, say to Portland, they had Denley and Lillard, and they could never really get a good number two. They had CJ McCollum, but he wasn't really there. Like sometimes it's hard for a team. We have a Luka. They've tried Porzingis, now Kyrie. Like sometimes trying to find that number two or even just a team around the number one is very hard to do. So
Mm-hmm.
if the Nets could say they feel like they have that, then they're only missing the one piece. Obviously, it's the biggest piece, but having the rest is definitely something to have. That there's still a lot of NBA teams that don't have that don't have a good core or what they feel like could be a number two.
I agree, man. All right, before we do our little draft where we're gonna pick like who wins each round. Um, we're gonna go back and forth with the draft, but let's finish it off and talk about this Oklahoma City versus Minnesota Timberwolves match tonight and the Denver Nuggets, and if you feel like they have a legit shot of winning the championship. Now, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is one of my favorite players. I know I've said that like 4 times, but he really is. I have an abnormal list probably than most people, but that guy's a number one in my eyes. He
Mm-hmm.
may not be it today, but he's number one. And I really like Josh Giddey. And Chet, if Chet plays, that'd be
Yeah.
fun. They're definitely not going to beat the Nuggets, but I'm at least interested in this matchup tonight. And once again, similar to the Bulls, and Nerdy Sports audience are going to listen to this after, so you could already know the results at this point. But do you think the Oklahoma City Thunder win tonight?
Tonight's a tough one. Um, I'm
Would you take +5?
I would take +5. I'd take plus
Yeah.
five.
All
I
right.
think it's going to come down the wire. I'm going to go with Minnesota, and I'm going to go
Okay.
that based
A
on the
win.
fact that Edwards played so bad, Anthony Edwards,
So bad.
like
Worst possible game you can play.
that. A
Yep.
lot of times, it's like when a team gets blown out by 30 points, you always bet them the next game because they're going to be watching that film or whatnot. And obviously, it's now we're in the playoffs or play in, so everybody's trying a little harder. But I have to imagine that he was up 24/7, chugging Red Bulls in the gym, like angry at himself. He's already like a high confidence type of guy. So to see him struggle like that was
Yeah.
unexpected. And I think that there's no way he can't come out like really harder than ever. And like Minnesota, they have the better roster on paper. They seem so immature at times. They
Of
do weird
course.
things. It's like
Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns. He comes out in the first half. He's dominating the Lakers. He's looking great. I think he had 24 points, looked unstoppable. And then the second half, he kind of disappears. They could say it's foul trouble, but still, I think they said he got his fifth foul around 9.5 minutes. And like, yeah, you have five
He got
fouls,
like
but
four
you got to
fouls
try.
after that. They just didn't want to give it to him.
But he's not even trying. He had possessions where
He's
he
weird,
had
man.
short guys on him. He could have called for the ball. He had Austin Rivers on him and Schroeder, and he's like not being aggressive at all. Like you got
Yeah.
to try. They just completely zone out. So
Yeah,
the
he had a
talent is
decent
there.
game, but Karl Anthony Towns, Russell Westbrook are the kings of my most frustration list. The talent those men have and the ability they can possess, or actually
Mhm.
possess, yes, the ability they do possess,
Mhm.
but the results are just not there. And when I see you missing your full potential, that's the toughest thing for me. I cannot watch Cat. It's so tough. But I mean, probably more of a heart pick because I love Shea way more than Cat.
Mhm.
But Anthony Edwards is great, and maybe Rudy Gobert has a bit of a comeback game because everyone's shitting on him right now, and
Yeah.
can't wait to watch him fail. But either team loses to the Nuggets, right?
Yeah, definitely think either team loses the Nuggets. I mean, if the Nuggets lost, it would be historically bad for
Sure,
them to possibly lose.
sure. Yeah, and the Nuggets are same as the 76ers, plus 1,000, 10 to 1 to win the championship. But I don't think either of us really fully believe in them. Nikola
Yeah.
Jokic is fantastic. I wish I could count on the rest of the supporting cast more. I mean, Contavious Caldwell Pope's a solid guy. Michael Porter Jr. has the ability to be one of the best, but doesn't really, not really consistent enough, not really healthy enough. And Jamal Murray, especially bubble Jamal Murray, has the ability to score 40 and match up with Donovan Mitchell, but I don't know if they're consistent enough. But at the end of the day, like we already discussed many times, the West is pretty wide open. So leaning towards that, let's do our little draft. Now, since you're my guest,
Mhm.
you'll be first. And this is how it's going to work, Nerdy Sports audience. We're going to keep track of this throughout the playoffs, and we're going to come back each week and refer back to this list. But you're going to get 1 point for each round you win. So eventually, basically, you're picking who's going to win the championship, and then so on, who you think can win at least one round. So is your pick the Milwaukee Bucks? Who do you want, Scotty?
I think it has to be. I appreciate you letting me go first. I think we all knew this was an easy pick. So it's like a good draft. There are certain drafts you watch, like the number one pick, everybody knows who they're going to draft, and certain drafts it's debatable. This was an easy consensus number one pick, Milwaukee. I think you have to go there.
You got it. I agree. As we already talked about in nauseum. So for me, I mean, it's a 3-team race, so it's really a tough one. And obviously, being in first is pretty nice. But it's between the Boston Celtics and the Phoenix Suns. Now, the West is so wide open. I really want to pick the Suns. I love Kevin Durant. I
Mhm.
love Chris Paul, Devin Booker. I love those guys so much. But I think I gotta do the safer pick and pick the Celtics. I think if something happens to the Bucks, it's all of a sudden the Celtics championship to win. So I'll go with Boston, even though my heart doesn't want to.
So far, I think you're right on point, and I will keep it chalk, and I'm going to go with Phoenix. Obviously, we worry about the
Sure.
chemistry and possible injuries, but if healthy, they look like the best team in the West. So I got to go
Yeah,
with them.
this is one of the toughest picks for me. I mean, come on, what am I gonna do? Chalk would be the Warriors, and they're one of my favorite teams, so why not? But like we already said, like the Kings are plus 225 to win that series, so they may not even get me 1 point. But do I want to do it? Yeah, I guess. You know what? Just to make sure I get one, let's go with the 76ers. Not loving it, but let's do it.
All right, no, that's a good pick. I would have taken them if I was you, honestly. I mean, that's a little hard too. I know. I think you're a Sixer fan yourself, but I like the Sixers, so
I'm
I
fine
think
with that. I
a little
mean, I'm
bit
an Eagles
hard.
fan, Phillies fan. People just project that I'm a 76ers fan. I
Yes, I'll do
like
that
that.
for you.
Allen Iverson and I both have the same birthday, June 7th.
There you go.
I want Joel Embiid to do better. I think he has that ability. They definitely have some pieces, but we've already talked about it before. Like, I don't think they actually have a realistic chance of winning this series. I'm mainly picking that they have a much better shot of beating the Brooklyn Nets than, the Kings doing the upset as a 3
Yeah.
seed.
Huh. Well, now it gets a little more wide open, I feel like, from here on out.
Mhm.
But
I'm ready.
I'm gonna go with, and I'm sure it's a popular pick, so to say, just because of the status and the logo and whatnot. I'm gonna go with the Lakers for next
All
time.
right. Why not?
So
LA, baby.
it's a little farther
Well,
down
thank
the
you for
board.
giving me my second favorite team. It's easy for me. I got to go with Steph. Probably not the most, yeah, just do it. Yeah, Steph Curry, Golden State Warriors. Let's make it quick.
All right, so that now it gets even more interesting. I feel like we're going to see a run on West Coast teams here, since we discussed how we feel about the East and
We'll
whatnot.
see.
Uh, now,
Keep it quick.
uh, I'm going to have to go now against you because I have to hold to what I said earlier today. So I have to go with the Kings now because I said they'd
All
win.
right.
So I got to go with that. You just picked the
Easy for me
Warriors.
then. I definitely, once again, don't love him, but give me Nikola Jokic.
Okay. Yeah,
Nuggets.
that's now. I got to ask real quick. Which pick is that? How far down did it take to get the Nuggets?
It's sad, right? They literally should be the championship. So 8th.
That's the
pick.
eighth pick.
8th pick.
I think this is arguably, and I didn't pick them
That's
either,
where
so
the fun is.
I'm not disagreeing with it.
76ers, Lakers, Warriors, Kings, Nuggets, like they're all in the same boat.
When was
right?
the last time a number one seed was given this little credit? Maybe wasn't that Atlanta number one seed like 10 years ago when they lost to the Cavs, they got swept or something? Like that was like a 60-win team. Like
that was like the Joe Johnson.
Yeah, like I feel
oh
like.
my god!
And I remember
He was
that
the
team
best
was
2K
like,
player ever.
I think they had did they do like 60 wins and then the Cavs swept them? But when LeBron was like a 4 seed or something, they're like, yeah, nobody's given. Think about the 8th pick for a number one seed in a conference. Crazy, but I know you said to hurry up here. So even though I'm going to contradict myself here on my picks, which is weird, we're running out of teams. So just because of that, I will go with Memphis. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That makes sense. I mean, for
what's left, I think I got to go that direction, even though I am picking the Lakers higher.
And from a championship odds standpoint, they're the number one team left.
It guarantees me a single point in that round because one of them has to win. So
there you go. Smart picking. See, I know. This is Nerdy Sports audience. This is what they want. All right, so I got to go with the Cavs, right? Just because I know they're going to win that series. I mean, it's obviously it's a possibility, Knicks fans. Sorry, they could win, but I like to go all in. Cavs winning. Let's go. Cavs in 5.
Wow, up to 5? Okay. I was okay with disrespecting New York to the level that Cavs win. Now I want to say 5. That's that might be a little heavy.
I know, probably.
Now we're going to start picking the teams that are basically just left on the board. They don't have huge chances. With that in mind, I am also picking the Cavs, but I'll take the Knicks because I think they at least got a shot at the upset more than what's left on the board.
You're right. I mean, I guess I'll go Clippers, but I don't think they're going to win that one.
In that case, then I will go with all prayer here, and I will go with the Nets. Maybe something happened to James Harden, and
I got to give you the Nets, right? You gave me the Warriors.
It's a possibility; it could happen.
Are we down to the Heat and all that?
Yeah, we're pretty much down. We got Hawks, Minnesota, Miami, Thunder, Bulls. I think that's what we got left.
Let's go, Miami. I got to do it. Home pick.
All right, fair enough.
They're not beating the Bucks.
In that case, I will go with I'll go with Minnesota.
All right.
I said they beat tonight, and since we're all disrespecting Denver already, might as well say that somebody can upset the Aces.
You got the Bucks. We're picking the opposite, and I'll go with the Thunder.
All right, and is that everybody, or is it the Bulls as the last team?
It's the Bulls, but I feel like we're missing somebody. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
The Hawks. Actually, sorry, it's another team. Did you say Hawks yet?
Oh no, we didn't say Hawks.
All right, well, in that case, I guess I will take the Bulls, which would give you the Hawks.
Oh yeah, I forgot they already won. I'm already moving past that matchup. Yeah. All right. Atlanta, give me Trae Young. Honestly, that's probably the lowest odds for them to beat the Bucks. Oh yeah, I thought the Heat would play. All right, obviously. Oh no, they could. So the Hawks are going to get swept by the Celtics. Yeah, so that would make sense why they're the last pick because we thought the Celtics were the best odds to win the first round. All right, I think that was perfect, man. All right, Nerdy Sports audience, I hope you enjoyed this version of the NBA playoff preview, and we will be back next week. But as always, Scotty,
keep it nerdy.
Keep it nerdy.